Welcome everybody to our BG5 Live. So today's episode is episode 153. I'm so amazed by just the number already, each time I say this. So today we're going to discuss, the theme of the day is trait 27 in quality 5. But since we are going to move this week into the 24 and out of the 24 before next Tuesday, we also are going to discuss trait 24. So it's rationalizing the need to care for oneself first that we are going to discuss. And first I'm going to welcome our team, our panelists. And Linda Brandwijk cannot make it. She has a contact lens problem. It's somewhere in her eye and she has a totally red eye. So I hope you will get it out soon, Linda. So hello, welcome, Anna. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. I had just a fabulous, very self-nurturing conversation a few minutes ago. So this is perfect.
Oh, great.
So hello, everyone.
And Shelley, welcome.
Hello. Good to see everyone today.
Yes.
Great to be able to focus on self-care.
Yeah, we've got a lot of people joining us live in the Zoom room as well. So that's great for the sharing. So I'd love to hear from you in the Zoom room, whether or not you have trait 27 or 24, maybe in your design. So you can type it in the chat so we can hear your sharings in how you recognize this in your design. All right, so we have postponed our mini summit to May 4th, as we've shared before. So 4 essential truths of success in your career and business, helping you navigate these changing times. So next Wednesday, May 4th, you can join us from 9 a.m. till 1 p.m. Pacific. So a very rich content of 4 hours. And you can book it under special programs on our website. So the theme of April is the shock of completing an old cycle and beginning anew. And there may be difficulty at the beginning, as we have seen. So take care of yourself first. That's what we are right now, as you rationalize the change. So that is what is the theme of this week. So we have discussed the control in the 21 and the initiation in the 51. The growth in the 42. Sorry if I have some background noise. It's my daughter running through the house. And ordering in trait 3 last week. The difficulty at the beginning, mutation. So now we arrived at nourishment, the 27. Care for oneself first. And it is actually in our in the live work of today, in today's background theme. And the other trait that we are also going to discuss is rationalization, the 24. The return inspiration must be given a rational form. So this is where we enter into, I believe, in 2 days, right, Shelley? And then, so we'll see that at the end of our BG5 Live. Anything extraordinary that your eye is catching here, either Shelley or Anna, that you would like to share?
I'm just noticing from last week, the difficulty at the beginning, chaos, and then the movement to order. And then our next step is nurturing, self-nurturing, which can be a very organic thing, natural thing, until we get interrupted with conditions or whatever. But I just think that's a very interesting progression from chaos to order to becoming more self-organized, self-ordering in our nature.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, great. Anything for you, Shelley?
And then just continuing on from there to looking at how we rationalize what's happened, what's going on, and being inspired and giving that inspiration some kind of form, coming out of the natural ability to care for ourselves first before we help others. As rationalization sounds like, okay, I'm filled up. Now what do I what's the thing I'm going to go and do that brings form to this.
It's actually also the last two traits in the purpose fulfilled through mind. So trait 2 is then starting the next quarter of purpose fulfilled through form. So, rationalization, the return, inspiration must be given a rational form, is kind of leading the way into the new quarter that we will start then next week. Yeah.
Where are we going to go build now?
Yeah, exactly. We've thought enough, conceptualized, and now we're going to build next week. So let's see what the world will bring. All right. I think there is like sounds with it right now. Or was that just once? Okay. So today's theme of BG5 Live is nourishment, and this is caring for oneself first. So as you probably all know, kind of the saying in the airplane. So first put on your own oxygen mask, and then you can help others, because otherwise everybody will pass out, both yourself and others. So in caring for oneself first, the compassion and the energy to care for the weak, the sick, and the young, a tremendous potential for altruism. And the role is to nourish and nurture through the power of compassion. So you really care about others. You must also be nourished and nurtured yourself. And you may lack the instinct, because this is actually pointing to the survival instinct, trait 50 on the other side. So you may lack the instinct and values to set healthy boundary and easily end up sacrificing yourself. That's why we say care for yourself first, because you're so of service to others that you may forget about yourself. You must care for yourself first in order to have the energy and the resources from the energy resource to care for others. Nourishment or nurturing, giving without awareness is a waste of precious resources, because you'll end up empty yourself, right? Okay, anything you'd like to share, Anna or Shelley or anyone in our Zoom room here live, if you have the trait?
I have the 27, Natalie, and definitely throughout my life, this has been a theme, especially when I was younger and had young children and, other people, lots of other people around me that I needed to take care of. And it definitely is I don't have the 50, so it's definitely a trap I fell into to be taking care of everyone but myself. And it took me a really long time. And I don't know how many different wise friends and people a little older than me could see what I was doing and gave me all kinds of hints to one of my favorites that I always go back to is you cannot pour water from an empty jug. And my jug was often empty, and yet I would still keep going. So even when I'm I have 4 energy motors. I have them all defined. So I have an incredible amount of energy and an incredible ability. And it's almost like whenever I see somebody weak or sick or a young person, I would just automatically be drawn to wanting to help, even if they didn't need my help. I just wanted to go and take care of them and give them hugs, make sure they had what they needed, nourish them. And I had the energy to do it, but I definitely, and in the workplace, I had colleagues that that's one of the things that they would say that about me was, wow, you really care a lot, like almost too much. Like, why do you care so much? And so I was often putting all of that out there, and I just have so much that I cared about everybody, and I just do. That's just who I am. But I have learned through the terrible burnout that I eventually suffered that no, it is really important. And it was almost like I had to give myself permission to take care of myself first. That, I grew up with a lot of conditioning that was around think of others before yourself. And so I'd pushed down my own and not having the boundaries to not being able to set a boundary on what is it that I even need. I didn't even know what it was I needed to take care of myself until I would get to the point where I was really burnt out. And then I'd go off to the spa. I'd go for some kind of a treatment just to try to bring myself back up to that low water level in my jug. And then I'd keep going again. So this really was a lifelong learning. And I see, Natalie, you pointed out it's in my values, and it's quality 3, which is about being greedy with self-nourishment. And it was, I see it for everybody else. I wanted everybody else to take care of themselves. I spend a lot of time teaching other people how to take care of themselves. And I did, to a degree, do a lot of things to take care of myself, but I always was expending more than I was caring for myself. And I'm so glad to have finally learned so much more about myself through BG5 that I get it now. And it's I take care of myself first and my own needs first. And it's just such a different place to come from. And I think women especially can suffer with this when we're the ones raising the children or caring for the children. It's so nice that nowadays a lot of partners and husbands are more involved in that process. Mine always was too, but I did see still see a lot of women who are single moms or this nurturing, caring is kind of expected from women, whether you have this trait or not. And I know that can be something that I've met and talked with women who don't have this and know that they're not nurturing and caring, and they feel bad about it. And I think that's a whole nother conditioning thing that's gone on. And just understanding what it's about and realizing, how to take care of yourself first. It's just taken a long time to get to the place where I honor this now. And I encourage anyone with this, and anyone in general, really, we all have this in our design. It's either consistent or not. We all need to take care of ourselves first before we can help anyone else. I think it's just should be, we flipped that paradigm on its head where we were told to take care of others before yourself do. No, we're changing everything now. No, you need to come back to yourself, care for yourself, and then you'll have what you need to take care of others.
Yeah. It's actually my sister's birthday today. So she has this in her conscious core essence. And she is like you, just caring for everybody. And also, got really, really empty jar. Yeah. So
my son has this, and he's totally open in the survival instinct. So I noticed that tremendous compassion, very, very generous heart, but he has it in the 6, which is, he's a little more wary and suspicious and needs a little more defensive about it. But I noticed this altruism, which is pretty much what you were talking about, Shelley. This tremendous generosity, this natural generosity. And he has all 4 motors as well, like you were saying, Shelley. But as a young man, he's very interested in supporting others. And he runs into this constant dilemma that he's figuring out, of putting his resources into something or somebody and then wanting them back. If they're rude or mean or something, the bargain is, he's still figuring out the bargain because this is tribal energy. So this altruism can be wonderful, but it needs boundaries, just like you were saying. And the boundary line is, if you talk about that jug, that's a great analogy. Draw a line on the jug, that's higher than halfway, and make sure that you have that jug, 3/4 full at least, and use that as an analogy, because it's easy to, I don't have this one, but I watch him all the time. And it's easy to be so to value the other so much that you forget. And this thing about valuing your own stability, because that's your own security. That's where it's really important to have some balance so that you're not running on empty all the time.
Mm. And I just thought of it since you said breathe, Shelley. Lila, my daughter, also has it in her life work, actually, in her unconscious son. And she has it in the third quality, which is not what we are talking about today. But she's 15 now, and she is taking very good care of herself instead of others. Although she does, yeah, she does say that she's kind of a therapist for all of her friends or something like that. So probably in a sense, but yeah, in her conscious life work there is the 31. Yeah, maybe because of that.
Also, I forgot to mention one of the things that happens, keyword wise, when you're listening to someone. I'll hear my son say something like, "I don't care." He's so frustrated or hurt or whatever. I don't care anymore. Or the opposite of, "You don't care, they don't care." So this is, can stand in these different positions around caring depending on your self-nurturing ability.
That's so interesting you say that, Anna, because my son has the full strength and so does his wife. And when you said that, "I don't care," I remember him saying that when he would get to the end of his rope. That's what he says. "I don't care." It's kind of like, you've hit the boundary then when you get to that place of saying, "I don't care." You've been overloaded, taken on too much, have tried too hard or cared too much. It's kind of like a little indicator, another key indicator, like frustration, that, okay, we've gone a little far over the line. So what have I taken on that I really can let go of? And I have to say that it's his life work as well. Today is his birthday as well. He has this great altruism as well, and knowing how to care, but also having the other side of it, the 50 of knowing he loves tradition and the rules and the laws, and he wanted to be a lawyer. He's very much tuned into that. So having that full strength, both he and his wife, in building their family, and yet he wasn't taking care of himself, because that happens so often when you have young kids. Young children are just energy draining. It's really hard to keep up with them. So he's just turning 40 today. So his kids are just a little bit older now, that it's not quite so much. And he's getting a little more time for himself. But just having that reminder of, I had to really help him with that. No, you need to take time to take care of yourself. It's really necessary. You can't give from an empty jug of water. Otherwise, you're going to be in frustration or anger, or so it's almost like we need to know how important it is that we take care of ourselves first, that we have to be strong before we can help. And that's okay. I think that's really for people to know it's okay. And having the decision-making strategy and really being tuned into that has really helped me a lot, realizing I'm emotionally defined. So I have to wait until I feel like I can do it or want to do it. If I don't feel like doing it now, I don't. Where before I would do whatever anybody asked me simply because they asked. And that's another trap that this trait can easily pull you into, is somebody needs my help. Oh, I better go help. I need to care. It's natural for me to do that. I value caring for people. So it may feel like you're going against your own values. For me, it did, if I don't help somebody. And so being able to rely on my decision-making strategy to really feel it out and go, yeah, I'm not feeling it today. I just don't have the energy to go do that right now. That's been the greatest thing to help navigate all of these different parts of our self. So I really rely on it, and I don't feel bad anymore. If I don't have the energy, I just say no. It's a really clear boundary. It's the best way to set your boundary is using your decision-making strategy. And yeah, it's wonderful.
Great sharing, and both of you sharing about I don't care anymore. That's something that Lila says a lot as well. But yeah, she is a teenager. Anyway, let's take a look at, oh my God, there is a sound with it. How you get affected. Oh, it's just the when you are connected. So the shadow of trait 27, when you don't have trait 27, but you do have the other side, trait 50, right? So the lack the ability to know when it is correct to take on responsibility of caring for others. So you do have the 50 in your design, you don't have the 27. So the question then is, do you take on more responsibility than you can handle? Or do you fear taking on responsibility? Do you often find yourself taking care of others even when it's not correct for you? The problem may be that you are trying to physically take care of others when it's not correct for you to do so, thus fulfilling your fear of taking on responsibility that you aren't equipped to handle in reality. So the solution is to know that you are designed to work with others who can help you discern when and how it is correct for to care for others. Sorry. And I know, or at least in our chat, Teddy shared that she has this trait 50. So I'm wondering if you would like to write up something. And I know also that Chris Pachachka has trait 50, and she doesn't have the other side. And she always thought she was not a real good mom because she didn't really care in the way of nourishment that we know, right? And but when she finally realized that she was there to kind of, you do care because, you know, it's the strength of raising a family, so to say. But it's in setting the climate or the atmosphere or everything around it, everything is regulated and controlled, and making sure that, I don't know, that you're safe, right? That is your way of caring for the family, but it's not like the caring type of caring or the whatever. So Teddy is sharing, I can definitely relate to that, having trait 50 unconsciously, caring for others and making them a priority, mostly driven by the obligation and by guilt. Exactly. Yet guilt is a very poor motivator. It is. So, you know, you have just another way of caring. It's not a nourishment caring, but more of the security type of caring. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Shelley.
Yeah, my husband has the 50. It's our electromagnetic connection, actually, and I have watched this with him, and especially when we were younger, when we first met, we were first getting together, I just noticed how much he was willing to take on. He would always take on so much responsibility for others, and that between the two of us, it's probably the two of us together, we did a lot with a lot of large groups of people. Mostly through sports and business and things. And it's one of the things that we connect on. We like people, we like to take care of them. But I do notice that as we've kind of been through all those experiences, we're better at working together about it now. I can now, well, I probably always have. Are you sure you want to take that on? Are you sure this is something you want to do? Because he would feel he's got the open survival instinct. So, you know, he would take things on and then have a hard time letting go of them. He would know, he still does. He'll take on people feeling like he wants to care for them and then has a really hard time letting them go when they need to go. He doesn't, it's hard for him to break those bonds. He's also a 4/6, so he's very much interested in the relationship and hanging on to the people in his network. So it's challenging for him, but I understand it a little better, and he just needs time and space. It usually eventually will work its way out, but it's sometimes hard to watch him go through how long it takes him to be able to let it go.
Great.
And Debbie says she can share too.
Yeah. So Debbie, love to hear from you.
Wow, this really helps me out a lot. Explains so much of my past life. So, so I have straight 50 twice, and it's in what's called What's Hidden. And
Okay.
And so what's interesting is when it came to my kids, what you're sharing is like so true. It wasn't, I mean, I took care of them, but I always felt that it's just like cats. And this may sound really odd the way I'm sharing this, but cats are very independent. And I don't have to take care of them however I take care of them, right? And so I made sure my kids were independent and I took care of them and I didn't take care of them. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how it feels. And so, but in my past relationships, I always thought I had to win the men over. So I would always take care of them and I would, go out and buy them clothes and all that. And when I met my husband, I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something different. And oh my gosh, it's changed my life. And I'm a innovator. I'm very independent. I cannot and don't want to take care of anybody. However, I will when something's needed, I will. So does that make sense?
Yeah. Total sense.
So
Yeah.
that's fascinating to read this. So I was so out of alignment for the first 40 years of my life. So out of alignment.
Yeah, that's most of us have some kind of trial and error in getting aligned. But it's so nice to have this information. Yeah.
Thank you.
I just want to chime in for a second on we're all on our path, even when we're unaligned. I just want to say that so people aren't beating themselves up. But also in this realm of responsibility, I don't have the 50 either, but I'm thinking of the public role of the 5 because I have a sister who has the whole strength. She's very busy being responsible and trying to get other people to be responsible, and has the 5 in her personality, in her public role. And a lot of times the temptation with the public role, the 5 in the public role, is to go save somebody or get in there and rescue something or jump in there without the decision-making strategy. So you can take all this responsibility and then it doesn't work sometimes. And when it does work, you're the hero. And when it doesn't, you're the disaster. So, I'm just thinking about how important it is to whatever your decision-making strategy is to check in with this level of responsibility. What, is this really, it's about responsiveness, really. Responsiveness to yourself first so you can care responsibly for others, whether it's providing security or that ultra nourishing level of resources.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for sharing. Wonderful. Yeah, great observations. Let's see. I'm sure. I don't know why Karen did this. This is the first time that I hear these sounds. So today's quality is quality 5, the executor. So quality 5 is the messenger, universalizing the practical solution. So the ability to distribute effectively the resources of others. And in elevation, it is the power and strength to care for the resources of others, either the gifted and principled agent of distribution or the good sense and ability to find one. The challenge is weakness and the risk of loss of power restrict caring. So a restrictive nature that hampers distribution or the seeking of advice and assistance. Any thoughts on this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Anna.
Well, I was just thinking about, again, the 5 in the public role. And then this is quality 5, which it has to do with the messenger being able to give the message the energy of resources or the lack of resources, where the resources are going that either nurture or subtract nurturing. Is one of the biggest things we're a lot of us are experiencing around the world right now is a distribution crisis coming.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In the flow of goods, the distribution of goods sense, politically, globally, all of that stuff, especially around distribution and the distribution of information. Where it's contracted and limited and where it's openly shared. So to me, what we're watching is quality 5 in action right now in the whole world globally.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Exactly. It is. Yes, Shelley. And do I see you also watching Facebook? Is there things on Facebook?
I am watching Facebook, but I was actually looking at my MMI software.
Oh, okay.
Facebook is good. I'm looking up family charts because I have a sister, and both my son and his wife all have this full strength, and they all have quality 5 in their public role. And when I look at each of them, my sister, I looked at my mom and dad's charts. Neither of them had. My dad had the 50, but my mom didn't have any of this channel. And literally, my oldest sister was our mom. She's our parent. She parented all of me and my siblings, and still does to this day. She feels more like our parents than our parents were, just simply because this is the strength she has, and she does it naturally. She didn't know how to not do it. She just naturally did it, and from a very young age. And she still takes care of my mom. So I just find that fascinating. And then my son and his wife is the youngest of probably 6 children that are all quite a bit older than her. Yet when their father passed away, she was the executor. She was the one that took care of everything. And so it's just so interesting how people just instinctively know who to go to get these things taken care of. And it's funny because her strength in this entire channel is mostly unconscious. So she doesn't think she's the nurturing one. And because my son has the 27 as his life's work, she sees him as the nurturing one. Yet she unconsciously is nurturing all the time and isn't even aware of it. So that's another interesting look at it, to realize the unconscious and conscious also can affect us in different ways in this trait. So
yeah. Fascinating stuff. All right. So as I shared, we have, we first are going to take a look at celebrities, life work team. I was waiting for the boom and now there wasn't any music. So Ulysses S. Grant, an Australian model and business woman.
No, he's not. Karen forgot to change that line. That's hilarious.
Oh.
He's a general in the American Revolution.
Okay, this
last week. Yeah,
that's hilarious.
This was last week.
Sorry,
exactly.
That was last week.
Okay, so this is Ulysses S. Grant, is an American military officer and politician who served as the 18th president of the United States from 1869 to 1877. As president, Grant was an effective civil rights executive who created the Justice Department and worked with the Republicans to protect African Americans during Reconstruction. Previously, as commanding general, he led the Union Army to victory in the American Civil War in 1865. and thereafter briefly served as Secretary of War. So his life work theme is the unexpected. You are naturally initiated by the unexpected towards a whole new series of experiences, which ultimately nourishes and expands your intelligence. So interestingly, that he was the, what was it again? The executive, I saw it somewhere, or the executor.
Executor, yeah, the executor. Yeah. Making
Civil
sure
rights
people
executive.
had, yeah, it's interesting, everything that he did to, protect African Americans during the Reconstruction. That's really interesting to know too, because that's about the laws and the rules and laws for how we care about each other, and setting up the Justice Department. That's all about the 50, and that's interesting. He has the 27 though, which is about how we care for everybody. So he obviously cared a lot about everyone during that time, set up put things in place to take care of people.
And he was a general. I mean, that's the 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
literally the general. And a natural general.
5'2", yeah, exactly. Oh, that's so funny. And initiated by the unexpected. So, as he led the Civil War, that's probably something unexpected that he was initiated through. And then, he took up to become the president. So a whole new series of experiences would ultimately nourish and expand his intelligence. Great. So this beautiful Australian model and businesswoman, there it is again. Sorry. Oh, we have to share this with Karen. I don't think she is aware of this. Maybe she is. This week's theme, however, so we're now in the 27 still in the background frequency, and tomorrow as well in quality 6, but then it will move into the 24 of rationalization. And this will be with us right up until our next BG5 Live. So that's why we discuss this now. And then we will also give you something to take away from this session on the 24th for this week. So the return inspiration, must be given a rational form. So, oopsie, come on. Alrighty, so the ability to take unique inspiration and convert it into a rational concept that can eventually be communicated to others. Rationalizing is a risk and a test of the spirit, since there is no proof or experience, only knowing. This is individual circuitry, the knowing circuitry, and since it is in the mind, it's like the out of the blue knowing. Returning to the same idea or thought over and over again and reviewing it until it can be understood, as it is really something new. It can be a breakthrough insight, which is actually on the other side, but a new knowing, kind of trying to understand it for yourself first before you can start to explain about it. One moment the knowing is not there, and the next moment it is. It is not something you can force to be there. It happens in a pulse, right? Individual circuitry. So it's not there, oh, something's there. And since it is in an awareness function, the conceptualization function, you have fears, and this is the fear of ignorance, the mental anxiety that you will never know for certain, or that you won't be able to explain your knowing. So I don't know if either of you, or Debbie or Anna or Shelley, yes, I know, Anna, you do have it in your design, right?
There I do. My unconscious son.
Yes.
So it's very active. And it's not something I can control. I love it. I've made peace with it now, but it can keep your mind constantly going over and over things. And it's not there to solve a problem. It's not there to act on, but it's there to receive, because it's the other side of the 61. And that's what informs to 24. At least that's my experience of it. And so having that mystical or unexplainable energy move into rationalization, it doesn't, your mind can't do that. You can think about things, you can ponder, you can revisit, you can, write or dance or something to explore it, but it'll just pop up all of a sudden, and then you know what you know. And as a kid, I knew what I knew, but I couldn't explain it. So I kept a lot of things private, a lot of mystical experiences, a lot of being able to relate to nature or animals or plants or sort of these mystery zones. I just knew some of that stuff, but I would get very anxious around how do you know that? That's not true. Well, that kind of stuff. I learned to not share some of that until much later, in my later 20s or whatever. And then that became a big part of my work, in teaching and things like that, was validating that you can experience something. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to explain it. It's real if you've experienced it, and that's fine. But it's not always how we're cultured.
Yeah.
We're cultured to believe science or something. Otherwise, you'd be sort of ignorant. So I love this. And yes, all of a sudden you'll just kind of get this sort of ripple experience of, wow, oh, wow, and it does become a rational way to be able to translate an experience that you can't explain into something that at least has some explanation for others to understand.
Beautiful. Deep, how do you say that? Experience with this trait, right? Yeah. Did you want to say something, Shelley?
My husband has this trait. And so I've watched him over the years do much like what you're talking about, Anna, where he likes to spend a lot of time alone. I can see his wheels churning, and he'll be like that for days. And then all of a sudden he'll come up with, hey, this is what came to me. Now I know how I want to handle that thing. So I've kind of watched him go through that process. It's really amazing to see. So,
yeah.
And the insights he comes up with, he also has the 4323. So he does end up being able to, he calls it his spidey sense. And he knows, he's so cute when he's about to share something with me, because he doesn't share it with everybody. He gets this little cute little grin and he goes, I got to tell you something, but I don't know if you'll really get it. But he knows it's okay to share. I'll just help him put it into words. So it's really fun to watch someone go through that and come up with their unique observations. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. I see Debbie has the 61 and I have the 61, but I'm actually not going into the other side. So we're just going to focus on this trait that is in our background frequency this week. So I'd love for you to ponder also, Debbie, on what you want people to take away from today as I go wrapping up. So if you don't have your chart and you want to, have it alongside us taking a look at the traits of the background frequency, you can download it from our website, get your free career design chart. And then you can watch past episodes on our website under free resources. And also you can subscribe to the trait of the day, and you'll get a daily email of which trait is the trait of the day today. And then on our website, you can also just go to our BG5 Live, over here, and then you'll find the trait of the day in the description as well. And classes start in May, so the new foundation course, what else actually, I don't know. And other classes, other semesters that are going, like second, third semester, will start also in May. Yes, that's about it. And again, we have the 4th of May coming up next week with a beautiful mini summit that we are doing. So thank you for being here. And I would love to hear from our panelists any last things you want people to take away or be aware of this week with the Trade 24 in the background frequency. I'd love to start with Anna, actually, since you have this trait yourself.
I would just recommend on letting things take their time. You're not always in charge of the timing of when you get an aha. You're also not always in charge of taking care of other people in the right timing. You might feel that all that need to take care of somebody or yourself, but timing is a very essential part of self-nurturing and of letting your awareness, your self-knowledge occur. You know, we interfere with schedules and, you know, we interfere with some of these natural processes by having to do it too fast. But both of these things take time. So I would encourage people to just take time and let something emerge about what's correct for you.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Individual knowing just comes when it comes. Yeah. And Shelley?
Yeah, that's beautiful, Anna. I was thinking similarly that just for the next couple of days, it's still about, the focus is still on nurturing and nourishing and caring for yourself. And I would give you all permission to do that just for you, because often we don't, as I mentioned. And, you know, really just taking time to notice. Today and tomorrow we'll be in that quality 6, which is, I was just reading about this yesterday because I have a client who's got it, and realizing that quality 6 for the nurturing is really about being able to set clearer boundaries for yourself. So it might be a good day to really start to get clear on, feel out what your boundaries really are. What is it that you need to take care of yourself? What is it that fills your jug? And, you know, with a lot of BG5, it's about really tapping into your decision-making strategy to know what's correct for you. So those two fit beautifully together and helping you set boundaries for your own self-care. And then on Thursday, we change to the 24. And I love how you've described this, Anna, because I definitely have had times where my brain goes over and over and over and over something, but not in the lovely way that you describe, more in a terribly distracting way. And so I'm going to pay attention on Thursday to see how that affects me, and whether I allow it to stress me out or whether I just kind of relax into it and let it do its thing, and don't try to make it happen and don't try to make it stop, just to let it do its thing and observe what's happening and see if I come to some kind of aha next week as well. So but the opportunity for that is there next week.
Great. And Debbie, do you have anything you would want to give to people to take away from today and for this week?
Well, I just want to go back to what Anna said earlier in the conversation. And it was really profound for me right now in this moment. And that is not to make ourselves wrong as we learn about the different traits. And so how this is showing up for me, since I don't have the 27, but I do have the 50, is I just always thought I was really weird. And I'm not. We're all unique. But I just recognize that my sister has trait 50, and my sister is very good at taking care of my mom. And I was always making myself wrong for that. And now I get it. So I just want to circle back to what Anna said. Just honor who we are.
Yeah.
And what we have, because we're all very unique, and God has gifted us our own unique design, and there is no right or wrong in any of it. But let me tell you, human design is life-changing. So
beautiful. We actually had, so myself and Linda were organizers and speakers at the Human Design Conference in the Netherlands for the first time ever last Saturday. And it's so beautiful to be with, at least 50 participants, like-minded people that are just in awe with everything about design. So it was lovely. It was a great, great success. So yeah, take your time this week, nourish yourself and let your knowing unfold. And I am actually curious what kind of new knowing will come out, right? So maybe we'll learn in the news or through whatever, channels it comes to us, the new knowing that comes into the world. So I'm curious about that as the background frequency moves into the 24. So, and Teddy is actually sharing, thank you, ladies. I heard someone say it's best to learn to love our own shadows. Otherwise, we might end up with someone else. Yeah, that is a great saying as well. Oh, there was a beautiful saying in the event as well. Oh, I have to ask Linda. I don't know right now. I'll share it next time. It was brilliant. Anyway. So have a lovely week, everybody, and we love to see you next week again. Then it will be May, and Karen will pick it up again, and you will see me whenever I'm needed here again. All right. Well, thank you all for being here, and have a lovely week. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Thank you, Natalie.
Thanks, Natalie. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.